Welcome to the Jigme Kelsang Show. From that unwavering charisma coupled with the magnetic star power, their musical talent and songwriting capability has reeled audiences into the music. Quite notably, Kellie also had the pleasure of sharing rooms with household names like Alan Doyle, and whose empowering anthem Fearless featured in the soundtrack for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Joining me to talk about that and more is award-winning Canadian singer-songwriter and finalist from Canada's Got Talent Season 2, Kellie Loder. Kellie, hello and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm good. I mean, where are you coming to us from?
I am based in St. John's, Newfoundland. Um, yeah, I'm just looking out at the view right now. It's gorgeous. It's a beautiful day here in Newfoundland, in downtown. And yeah, I don't do these podcast things very often, so I'm happy to be here.
Perfect. Well, I'm glad to have you on board here. Um, I first off wanna begin by kind of exploring where did that musical journey start from?
Oh my. I feel like music was sort of just always was. I can't really remember a time when it wasn't a thing, you know. It's um I learned to play music in church growing up, like a lot of artists. Um and then songwriting took a hold of my life and I just went from there. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I mean, I also want to get to know what is St. John's, Newfoundland like?
St. John's is it's a smaller city. Um it's absolutely beautiful. The culture here is really amazing. Um, it's very brotherhood, sisterhood, community based. Everyone treats you like their best friend here. Um, everyone treats you with respect. I mean, not everybody. There's bad apples everywhere, but it's home. You know, it's just home, and a lot of people that come here actually make this place their home because they feel that sense of home. Um, and community. It's a place where people can lay their roots down for sure.
And just connecting on that point, do you feel when you make music at home or on the road or anywhere that you feel comfortable, do you feel music just gives you that sense of home and reminds you of St. John's, Newfoundland, the roots that you created?
I mean, yeah, I think well, I mean, St. John's is a home in itself, but music is another home. You know, when I'm having when I'm going through a low period, I always, find myself with my guitar in my hands and I wonder why I waited so long to pick it up again because it really does bring me back to this place of feeling grounded and feeling good and feeling healthy and to be able to express creatively through music is everything to me.
For sure. And
Mm.
I don't know if I don't know if you want to discuss this, but before we started recording this podcast, you told me that you don't really do podcasts as often. Do you feel that's
Mm.
kind of your way of kind of just feeling more comfortable in yourself, or feeling comfortable in terms of speaking with other people, or how does that navigate in terms of your career?
Are you asking me why I don't do this very often?
Yeah. I want to figure out why kind of like you don't do podcasts as often. Is there something that you kind of feel uncomfortable with that kind of scheme of
No,
things?
no, no. It's just I'm not always able to say yes. Um, I mean, it's not like I got you know, podcast offers every day in my inbox. But it's yeah, I just never able to say yes all the time. I've had a few offers and I'm never home or I'm on the road or I have something else booked and it just so happens that you caught me at a sort of a break. I'm on a break right now from touring, so I'm able to sit down here in my living room and speak with you.
Well, I'm glad that we landed on the perfect timing here. I
Hmm.
mean, what is life like off the road, if you can explain that?
Off the road? Um, I have a dog who you heard barking earlier, but he's pretty amazing. He's, my family. I have a partner, um, kind of newish, and she has two kids. So I've been spending time with her and her kids and her family. My family lives about, 5 hour drive away, so I don't get to see them as often, but I'm actually going home for Thanksgiving. And I think it'll be the first time I've been home for Thanksgiving in a really long time. So just happy to be here and watch the colors change in the trees, and it's a really special time of year right now. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. With Thanksgiving
Mm.
coming up and obviously the special feelings of home and everybody wants to get together with their families. I mean, what sort of keeps you grounded in terms of times when you feel your lowest and want to kind of bring back that feeling of home when you're so far away from it on the road, let's say, for example. What kind of keeps you grounded in terms of that sense of stuff?
For me, I try to get into the community and meet the locals and however that happens. I love food culture, so whenever I'm on the road, I try to find, the holes in the walls and, the best of this, the best of that. Um, and I love to thrift shop. So between all those things, I don't know, I just find like-minded people, people who are creative and um yeah, just having conversation with people where it seems effortless, um is really special to me especially when they're on the other side of the world, you go and you meet someone who feels like your best friend. Um and then hopefully you're able to stay in touch after that. But yeah, it can be really special on the road and having those experiences even when you're missing home. Yeah, I wouldn't change it for anything though. I mean, I do miss home when I'm gone, but not as much lately. It's like I turned a page or something. I used to hate touring. Hate is a strong word actually. I used to dislike it a lot just because I don't know, I felt like I was, I often tour alone, because I'm a solo artist. So if the budget's not there for me to take a tour manager or to take somebody else who plays in the band with me, it can get pretty lonely. But lately I've been really loving touring and um, yeah, maybe I just needed to grow up a little bit, grow up a little bit more. We're always growing up.
For sure. And
Mm.
as we're talking about growing up, your album that you released called Transitions, um,
Hmm.
where did that come in terms of the growing phase as an artist and as a person? Where did that kind of album idea come from?
Um, I mean, honestly, it was just a collection of songs that I had been singing for years live and just finally got them recorded. And they just sort of encapsulated this theme of change and transition. And I remember I was at coffee with my friend and my cousin, and my cousin was going through some hardship in a relationship, and my friend was like, "Yeah, I get it. Transitions are hard, and then it just stuck with me. It really stood out to me as to what that meant, and I was like, I think that's the name of the album right there when that happened. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well, I mean, I just want to touch base also on the fact that I was reading up on your bio and I was reading a lot about the details in terms of your career, but I didn't know that you kind of got into carpentry a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But speaking about like transitions, the album and the growing phase of your career, sort of
Mm.
was that carpentry like kind of like role in your life, kind of that transition to make you want to be an artist after finishing carpentry? How did that like come about?
I mean, I was always an artist, even when I was in carpentry. Like, it never went away. But carpentry actually came about because, COVID happened, 2020. Nobody knew what they were doing, what the next steps were. And the entertainment just sort of came to a halt. So I was like, I want something to do. Like, I'm going to pick something. I'm going to just hop on some sort of community college website and go to school for something that's very short, but very fun. And something I've always wanted to learn. I come from a family of builders, but before I went to school, I don't think I had used a saw before, like a power saw. And like the first day when I showed up, there was like three different power saws that were being used, and I was like, okay, I have to watch my fingers. Yeah, I need my fingers for the music. Um, yeah, and I just fell in love with it. I more so gravitated toward the woodworking piece instead of the carpentry, like because I went for residential rough carpentry, so I could learn how to build houses and do renos and stuff like that. But I ended up just using all the machinery in the shop at school for my own projects and my own. I was building coffee tables and charcuterie boards and end grain cutting boards and what else was I building? Beer flights. Yeah, I just and at the time I was living in an apartment with a garage, so I was always out there, and I loved it. And it's just so funny that we're talking about this, but recently I made a post looking for a space to do woodworking again because I loved it so much. Um, I don't think anyone got back to me about that, but I hope they do. I hope there's somewhere I have all the tools. It's just they're in my laundry room right now. You know, there's nowhere to put them. Yeah, but I loved it. So yeah, that's how that came about, and it was just another creative outlet for me to for me to lean into.
For sure, and it seems like you take great pride in terms of that part of your life, but also that I was reading this quote and you're saying not giving up, and that's what I'm most proud of. I mean, 2 years ago I was working as a carpenter. Um, I mean, what was sort of the most
Hmm.
proudest moment in your career? What would you say that would be?
Um, I had this dream of a theater here in St. John's called the Holy Heart Theater, and it was I had it for so long, that dream. And when I started music, the Holy Heart Theater is about 1,000 seats. When I started music, songwriting and performing my own songs in public, I used to perform at this cafe called Second Cup, and it's like a chain, but it was on Stavanger Drive in St. John's, and I used to perform in the corner for like $50 for 2 hours, like once a week, whatever. Um, and the first time I had a show at the Holy Heart Theater was directly after Canada's Got Talent, and it was selling out. And one of the places I went to hang a poster was the Second Cup on Stavanger Drive. And I hung the poster for the Holy Heart show. And then I looked at the corner that I used to play in where like it was just a table of my friends. And that was a moment. That was, oh, I've grown. What's next? And then, the year after I sold out a bigger room. It's really special to be the captain of the ship and watch it go places that you never thought it would go.
For
Yeah.
sure. And
Mm.
that must have been sort of just making a point off of what you just were saying. That kind of
Hmm.
just gives me that kind of feeling where you kind of realized in that moment that
Yeah.
that was like OMG, that was like I made it moment.
Yeah, I mean,
Like that was like
I
literally your I
it was
made
a
it moment.
dream. I had watched all these great Newfoundland and Labrador artists play this venue and sell it out, and it was on the list. you know? And I did it. I did it twice actually in the same year. So it was like, what is happening? But that moment where I actually took a moment for myself to actually just stand there and look at the corner where I used to play and just like be there, present in that, and appreciate where I came from and what I've done and the thing that I've built, over the years, and to watch it grow is just such a privilege. Hmm.
For sure. And that kind of reminds me of the song from Miranda Lambert, The House That Built Me. And
Mm.
it kind of like gives me that reference in terms of like that second cup place that you're talking
Hmm.
about now. It kind of like was like you look at the corner where you first sat when you're first
Hmm.
starting out, and you come back after Canada's Got Talent or during the shooting of Canada's Got Talent, and then
Yeah.
to see your poster hung up there again
Yeah.
and to reminisce on those good times of when you first started. It
Hmm.
kind of was like, man, I think that's the place that built me. That was the place that really solidified what I am as an artist and what music I want to make. Um,
Hmm.
was that kind of that kind of moment for you?
I think the music you want to make is always ever changing and evolving. Um, because I feel like wherever I'm at is what my music sounds like, wherever I'm at, personally, spiritually, um, different people I meet, they all inspire parts of me to come out that otherwise wouldn't have. Um, but yeah, no, it's a special privilege to be able to do what I do, and I don't take it for granted ever. Um, every time I do a show and there's, more than, I don't know, more than 100 people there, I'm just like, you guys came out to see me sing? What? You know? So when there's 1,000 people there and I'm headlining, I'm like, this is bananas, you know? So I can't imagine how I'm gonna feel the first time there's 10,000 people, or the first time there's 5,000 people or 2,000 people. And um, I'll just keep, looking at it like every step before that is the corner at second cup, you know? Yeah.
Well, that leads me to my next point where you said that I'm very, very lucky, blessed to make art and live off of that and feed myself with it. I never forget the wonder.
Hmm.
That word really sticks out to me, the word wonder. I mean, do you still
Did I say
feel
that?
that's what I read here on a quote that you said that you
Oh, a
were,
quote.
yeah.
Yeah.
You said, I'm very, very lucky, blessed to make art and live off of that and feed myself with it. I never forget the wonder. That last
Hmm.
part is a statement right there
Hmm.
that you never forgot the wonder. And I bet you still haven't forgotten the wonder now,
Oh,
has
I
it?
don't. I don't. Yeah. I mean, I'm always wondering about more, you know? I'm trying to figure out or think about when I use that and what context I use it in, because when you said it, I actually really liked it, because I thought I didn't know that I said that, but apparently I did. And now I'm like, why did I say that like that? What was I thinking and feeling at that time? Um, but yeah, I don't even know what I meant when I said it at that time. What does it mean to you? Like, what do you think about when you hear that?
What it means to me is kind of that reflection where you kind of look back and you say, wow, like, from a little kid to growing phases and to learn from your
Mm,
mistakes and to learn from the hardships in your career where you kind of have to build a name for yourself from the beginning. Like it's kind of that part where even with
yeah.
podcasting, let's say for example, like I didn't know what this was going to lead to. Like I thought I
Hmm.
was just going to like do something like that's other than podcasting. Like
Hmm.
something like in like a janitor role, like cleaning schools and paying your dues to make it basically.
Hmm.
And that's kind of where everybody starts. It's kind of like you got to start from the bad jobs
Yeah.
to
I mean,
get to the really good ones.
everybody's nobody before there's somebody. You know,
Exactly.
it's true.
And I want to
There's not
make,
one person who's somebody that you look up to that wasn't at the bottom first.
and
Literally nobody.
yes, absolutely. And sorry, I don't
Hmm.
want to interrupt you, but
No, it's all
it's
good.
just something that I want to make a point off of this because it's very telling that we're talking about this. Because when I graduated high school, I made friendships with all those teachers, all those connections I made. I never forgot
Hmm.
that place. I knew it. The day I left from there, the day I started, I said, that's the place that built me. That is the place that really, really
Mm.
believed in what I wanted to do. And the principal of that school, he shook my hand, he looked in my eyes, and he says, thank you for everything. Don't be a stranger. That sentence really shook me to my core because don't be a stranger. And here I am doing a podcast talking about him and his impact. But that's kind of where your community builds from. Like little stuff like that goes a long
Yeah.
way. And that's what we're talking about never forgetting the wonder. You never know who would say something like that to you. You never know who you might meet on the street and say, "Hey, here's 20 bucks. You want to join me in a cafe and play a few songs and do
Right.
stuff
Yeah.
like that?" Like
Hmm.
was there like a person in your life where you kind of says that person really inspired me to do this career? Who was that person for you?
I mean, there's just so many. Every time I see, even a friend perform, it makes me want to go home and write another song, or I don't know if there was any one specific person. Um, I feel like it was always something I had to do. Like it was never something I had a choice in. Like it was like breathing. It wasn't I chose everything else before I chose music, but music chose me from the start. I tried everything else. Went to nursing school, when I got out of high school, and it was hilarious to think about now because I'm so not a nurse. I was good at it. I enjoyed taking care of patients and making those connections. But every time I'd look at myself with a nursing uniform on, I'd be like, that's not me, and I worked in events for a little bit. I worked in group homes and, learned a lot about life and relationship and hardship through these kids that I took care of. Um, but at the end of the day, I was like always bringing my guitar, everywhere and always, no matter where I was, like recording new ideas into my phone, into my voice memos, new songs, new little snippets, and it was always with me. It always chose me. Um, but I didn't choose music fully until I don't know. I didn't like go both feet in until about when was I? Like more than 10 years ago now, for sure. But it was a while, for sure. Yeah.
So it definitely seems like you were fearless of what people thought about you and fearless of what you thought about in terms of like, yeah, music was sort of a stuff that I chose, but you're
Yeah.
saying that just now, you're saying that music chose me, where it kind of felt like that was sort of your calling in terms of what you wanted to do for your career. If it felt like
Mm-hmm.
that it felt like that carpentry, and here we go, coming back to that point again, where the carpentry role kind of working with your hands and making music like sonically, spiritually, personally.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like to me. And
Oh, 100%. That's exactly what it is. It's the love of creating. There's something that happens in the soul, in my soul anyway. When I'm creating something and bringing something into existence that wasn't there before, that's when I feel most alive, for sure. that's when I'm like, oh, this makes me feel aligned. This makes me feel like I'm in the groove of the perfect groove of where my life needs to go. Because it fits everything else. Speaking of like, carpentry, there's a floor thing sometimes. When you're laying flooring, there's a tongue and there's a groove. And I feel like when I'm creating things, I'm in that perfect groove and it fits, you know.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we were just talking about being fearless, and your song "Fearless" was featured in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And what a song! I mean, it just seems like, like I was watching this one songwriting show. It's called Songland on
Mm-hmm.
NBC. If people haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's really cool. And BB Rexa was actually writing a song for the Tokyo Olympics as well.
Okay.
And she had a song called Miracle that she released. I don't know if anybody's heard it, but it's a really good song. But she was talking to these artists and saying, I need a song that kind of punches you in the face, that makes you want to go harder, makes you want to believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one artist whose song was named Gold. And then she changed that lyrics, but not like fully changed it, but she changed kind of the landscape of how she wanted the song to sound in terms of the theme of it, because she wanted to say going for the gold, but what if we turn that around and say, okay, you can do this to me, you can do this to me, but you can't count me out, until I'm 6 feet down. And she changed the whole song and she made it called Bones, and it added a lot more grimier drums and guitar riffs and all these things, but it punched you in the face. It was like, yes, like, it wants me to
Mm-hmm.
go harder, go faster, to believe in myself. And it
Mm-hmm.
seems like Fearless was kind of your song where you kind of reminded me of kind of that part of that song where you says, okay, it punches you in the face. It makes you want to believe that story. That,
Mm-hmm.
all the hardships you went through, I can hear it. I can hear the hardships through the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I just want to say thank you for making songs like that, because we don't have songs
Oh.
like that now. Like that kind of like puts you back in your seat and says, wow, am I more
Mm-hmm.
fearless than ever before? Like to remind you of, where you came from, what you started from.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've been thanked for writing that specific song. It's um it's definitely been I guess the highlight of my songwriting career so far. And it's not my favorite song that I've ever written because the one that's most popular never is the favorite one. But it has a it's like an anthem for strength. And I've been stopped at grocery stores and in the aisles and by people who have been struggling and dealing with cancer and fighting it, and they're saying thank you so much for your song, and I get to see these people and see the people that I'm helping and when they're hurting. So it's a real privilege, like I said, to be able to do this, and I'm so grateful every day. I sometimes just sit on my couch and grateful that I'm able to pay my rent and have good food here and my dog is here and I'm doing it all because I'm using my vocal cords to make music. That's pretty special,
For
I
sure.
think anyway.
For sure. I mean,
Yeah.
rightfully so. I think you should be extremely proud of what you've put out and the career that you've built.
Hmm.
And just speaking about gratitude, well, that concludes our time together. But thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Thanks to my guest, Kellie Loder. For more information about Kellie, check out kellyloder.com. And remember, you can find my show wherever you get your podcasts, and you can also follow me on all social media platforms. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.